Leave it up to Lily to be able to break the tension after realizing you and your gang are about to go on a suicide run. What better way to ease us into a very heavy episode that ends on a seemingly optimistic but concerning note? Last week, I was really intrigued by the concept of the monsters and humans and can they coexist, because how would society be able to deal with the idea of intelligent monsters, especially when monsters are more physically capable than most humans in this world, and if they have the same level of intelligence, humans by human nature will feel like they will be outrun and overdone by these creatures, so we must kill them before they overtake our humanity. And in this episode, we get the confirmation that not only does the guild know of the intelligent monster's existence, the whole idea is that the Hestia Familia will be the bridge between the two sides so they can finally coexist. Because the whole reason that they've had to live in cave by themselves for so long is because they will be hunted and persecuted, that they aren't the same as the general monsters out there, that they are good people by the sounds of it. It's just a matter of there hasn't been probably a guild before Bel and Hestia that would have the ability to bridge that gap. And I mean, even without Bel, this guild wouldn't have done so. I mean, when he first tried to bring in our girl Wine, everyone wanted to kill her because that's their nature. If you see a monster, you kill it. And because of that, act first and think later, they would have killed an intelligent, normal girl. But because of Bel and his kindness, while that kindness has gotten them into trouble before, and hell, got him in trouble in this episode, and the entire arc that we're witnessing, that bridge in that heart is definitely needed in this world, and that opens up so many new possibilities. As I firmly believe that the direction that Season 3 was going to go for Danmachi was that what was going to happen was eventually they would have to get involved in some crazy things, and eventually they would have to find her a safe haven, probably of her own kin, and, hopefully one day they would be able to merge with society. And what they did was they sped up to the point where they're saying, no, there's already been very powerful people aware of their existence, put her back with their own kin, and try to find a way to bridge that gap. And I'm like, oh, that changes everything. That's actually more complex and intriguing than what I was hoping for from this season. And that really is a testament to how good Danmachi Season 3 is being, is that it is taking its time and it is speeding past where it needs to. Like, we don't need to see them climb 20 floors. That's pointless. We've seen many of those floors in prior seasons. Focus on the floors that they haven't been, which is the 20th, because that's insanity to them. And I mean, it looks to be hell on earth, especially considering they all target Wine specifically. And you have to deal with so many things where you have to use magic swords and you're only going down with 3 to begin with. And Lily has to use 1 in order to save their life. It's kind of insanity. I love how this season definitely is taking its time where it matters and speeding past those moments where it doesn't. While it's fun to see them dungeon crawl, we don't need to see that. We need to put the focus on what's important for the anime, which is the idea of the storytelling as we see here. And I like the idea that it is very mysterious, almost like the guild's using them as bait. I thought they were going to be led into a trap where they'd get ambushed, especially considering we have that one group being like, keep an eye on the Hestia Familia. And then as you get kind of progression with Hestia's side, where you're seeing something that we don't even know the face of, and then we're seeing a man in a chair being like, okay, he's behind this, but he doesn't seem sinister, he just kind of seems creepy. And as the episode's going, we're focusing back and forth between both sides a lot, but enough where as dialogue's happening for Bel, we're having a similar set of, conversations happening on Hestia's side, and we're learning that they are the bridge and everything just changed. I really do like that confrontation as well, because when they did bust through that cave, and you see all of the eyes, to me what it said was that because they were in the dark for so long, because they were shining lights, that's what was triggering them. So as soon as they lit up the room, pretty much they had to kill them all. I actually didn't believe that they were intelligent monsters during that entire fight, and it wasn't until he got up from the rubble after Bel one-shot KO'd him that I was like, oh, I should have saw that coming. I really appreciate this episode's direction because it definitely had a lot of twists and turns, and they're easy to figure out along the journey if you really pay attention, but so many of us, unless we have experience with the source material, are so invested on there being an ambush or a trap, so we really just assume what we see at face value is exactly what it is, ignoring the fact that someone like Wine is an intelligent monster and that we very well could be looking at a village of a similar species. And I think that is an intentional choice, not only by the anime studio, but most likely the author as well, is that it's not letting you easily grow accustomed to intelligent monsters being something, because if you see a monster, you can't say, can you talk? Because if you take the time to do so, you could get your throat slit. But by fighting them and things like that, it's very much hard for us to not know, is this friend or is this foe? Because even just shaking their hands is something that scares them, because even if they're saying nice things, they have claws that could rip your arm off. So it's like, it's a very difficult thing for Bell right now, and I love that difficulty because when you look at this girl that he's been with, he really wants to protect her, but then you look at all these other creatures, you're like, how can you get you on the surface? And it would be very interesting if they find a way to bridge that gap, even temporarily. I mean, imagine season 3 concluding and you see a bunch of intelligent monsters, buying groceries on a general cart on the street. But there's going to be so many hardships, and I don't know how they can do so. Even Bell himself having that fear of shaking hands with people that he knows he probably can trust but fears their strength, the exact same way they probably fear adventurers' strength, because they have this magical ability that can just turn them into dust. It's such an intriguing concept, and I mean, the fundamentals of last week in terms of really getting you to think about coexisting, having it carry over into this episode into such a fascinating new territory, you can't help but love the direction DanMachi Season 3 is taking, and I really felt like this was the most personal episode of the season so far. And that's saying a lot considering what episode 2 last week delivered. But the whole idea of not knowing what you should do, and the fact that you can't turn down one of these missions, that the guild says you're doing it, or you'll probably get the death penalty. And not only that, you have to take our girl, and now you're questioning how do they know about it, and you're feeling like, are you taking her to her death sentence, or are you all heading to your death sentence? Because can you even survive the 20th floor, even with Haruhime's level boost? It really is kind of a suicide mission, and I really did appreciate that, and that's why that debriefer at the end there really did feel nice, because it was nice to see that not only did we not go to a suicide spot, we went to somewhere where we just changed the fundamentals of the story completely. DanMachi's world and just the idea of the guild and monster hunting and the tower that they go down to go from floor to floor has so many possibilities to tell stories unlike anything in a similar fantasy setting. And while the idea of coexisting with intelligent monsters and humans have been done in other fantasy stories before, the idea that DanMachi's is taking, especially with how long the guild has known about this in certain ways, it really does lead to territory you don't get to see in stories such as these, and that's why it's such an incredible adventure. I mean, there's a lot of pain in this episode, there's a lot of pain last week, and to see how it carried on in this week's episode, with our girl just so terrified to go down, but wanting to be brave for Belle, and Belle trying to put on a brave face. But I mean, to be a leader in a situation like this, I don't know how the hell he did it. And it's why so many people do flock to him, male and females alike, because he does invoke a level of confidence where he starts out at the bottom, but the way he does progress to where he's at now, it really does invoke this level of leadership that even if he doesn't want it, he's the only man cut out for the job, and his kindness, while it is his greatest weakness, can also be his greatest strength, and I think that's exactly what they need right now. This was an incredible episode. I'm really loving Season 3. It's my favorite of the seasons so far, and hopefully the remaining 9 episodes will continue to deliver such quality as we've currently seen. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and especially your theories down below. If you enjoyed the video, of course, we'd like to share your support and hit that subscribe button if you have been new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.